Good evening and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin and I am the Dream Decipherer, and I help you to crack the code of your sleep and dreams so you can sleep sound and dream deep. This evening I have a single dream in two acts, two parts, and it involves PVC trousers and Star Wars posters. So let's get into it. In the first part, the dreamer reports that he had bought a pair of PVC trousers or to go out clubbing with his wife and a friend. Doesn't specify whether the friend is male or female, but in any case, the PVC trousers were too small for the dreamer. The dreamer got them on somehow, but was having real difficulty getting them back off again, and was worried that if he didn't get them off quickly enough, his friend, don't know if it's the same friend or a different friend, was asleep in one room, and the wife and son and father, or in other words, the family were asleep in their rooms, and he's trying to get these trousers off, and he's naked underneath them, and he's got them half off, and he's worried that somebody's going to see him. Um, but in any case, the wife, the son, and the friend, which friend we're not sure, if it's two different friends or the same friend, but they all stated and warned the dreamer that these trousers did not fit and he shouldn't put them on, but he had insisted anyway. So that's the first part of the dream. In part two, the dreamer reports that he went outside somewhere and encountered a street vendor who may have been a female friend of his, and this vendor was selling a copy of a book series called The Cosmic Trigger. We'll come back to that. And the dreamer then noticed that in the lining of the vendor's coat, she had copies of other books by this same author, Robert Anton Wilson. Or maybe they weren't inside her coat, were inside a small tent. But in any case, the dreamer wasn't actually interested in that. He states that he was looking for a poster of the Mandalorian and Child. And from what I understand, the Mandalorian and Child is from one of the later Star Wars series. Now, what does this all mean, or could this all mean for the dreamer? Well, let's look at the first part. And the dreamer wants to put on these PVC trousers in order to go out clubbing with his wife. So, and I just wonder that with the impending easing of lockdown restrictions, if that's kind of an expression of, oh, good, I can go out and enjoy myself again. And so it may be an obscure reference to being coming out of lockdown. But what does clubbing represent, or what does being able to go out clubbing with your wife represent, is one of the things that I would ask the dreamer. Next, the wife and the friend, and the friend isn't identified by name or sex, so I don't know if it's a male or female friend. But what my question to the dreamer here would be, what aspect of the dreamer is represented by these two people? That says always, 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 you have to remember that the people who appear in our dreams are not necessarily themselves, but represent some aspect of the dreamer. So that's what the next my question would be there. What do these people represent for the dreamer? Now we come to the trousers, the famous rubber trousers or PVC trousers, which were too small. Or you could put another way, you could say they would no longer fit. Now, the unconscious does like to do things like use plays on words and other things. And I just wonder if there's a possible play on words here where the PVC trousers aren't fitting. They're not fitting for who the dreamer is at this point in time. Um, so perhaps there's an indication here that whatever the PVC trousers represent and going clubbing represents, it no longer fits in with who the dreamer is or the life that the dreamer wishes to live at this point in time. So maybe there's something that's beyond gone past its sell by date, and needs to be gotten rid of. So, and my question there is to the dreamer is whether there's some part or aspect of the dreamer's life that really needs to just be knocked on the head and removed in some way. Now, here he is struggling to get these trousers off. He's got nothing on underneath, and he's got them half off. And afraid of being seen by a friend, whether it's the same friend or a different friend is unclear, and his family. So the dreamer is naked or half naked. He doesn't have anything on under these PVC trousers. Obviously, he could barely get them on. So underwear wasn't an option. But there's again a kind of a sort of play on words here, where the dreamer is naked, or put another way, the dreamer is appearing as his true or natural self. And there's something about this, whether in the dreamer's life there may be some aspect of the dreamer's life again that isn't being fully revealed, or is only being half revealed, and leaves the dreamer feeling fearful, of being seen and exposed in some way. Is there some part of the dreamer's life that leaves the dreamer feeling exposed? Now, the dreamer had been warned by the wife, the son, and or this friend that these trousers were too small. They did not fit. Yet the dreamer insisted on wearing them. Why? My question to the dreamer here is, why was he insistent on wearing these trousers despite being told by several people that they weren't going to fit any longer? So we move on from there. And the question here is, what is the dreamer perhaps holding on to that needs to be let go? And is there something that the dreamer is insisting on holding on to that really needs to be released and moved on from? Now, there's a bit of confusion with regard to this friend. There's one friend that's mentioned in conjunction with the wife about going clubbing, and then there's a friend who was sleeping in a room, I assume, where the dreamer needed to go into, or had was afraid that the person in the room would come out of. But who this friend is, if it's the same friend or a different one, I'm not sure. But in any case, if it is a second person, what was this friend teaching? What lessons was this person giving to the dreamer? And why were they asleep in the room? Wouldn't they go home? Just kind of a little curious curiosity there as to who this person is, what they would represent to the dreamer, and why, after giving this lesson, they fell asleep in the dreamer's home. Now, there is also the two women, and again, not only what do they represent in terms of the dreamer, but they could also be aspects of the dreamer. Again, the dreamer's anima, the inner feminine part of the dreamer. Um, Again, and the anima in males, stress, connection, stress, relations, or relationships. So I would wonder if there, what purpose these two women are to represent in the dreamer's life with regard to connection and being connected, either to family, friends, or some other thing, or something rather. So what links this two-part dream? What links the two parts? Well, it seems to me that there's a contradictions or misunderstandings or not listening perhaps, going on in both of these dreams. In the part one, the dreamer is, despite advice from family and friends, the dreamer insists on following a path of behavior that no longer is suitable. It no longer fits. Um, but nevertheless, despite being warned and told, it wasn't until the dreamer actually tried it for himself and found out that no, these PVC trousers or situation is no longer fitting for the dreamer. Now, the dreamer gets stuck, simply because he went his own way and did not kind of heed the warnings given, and then found himself in a stuck halfway in and out of this these PVC trousers and worrying about being seen naked. Um, but the connection here with the second dream is that there's again contradictory views or misunderstandings or misreadings, and the dreamer in this case, there's a misreading or misunderstanding, or just simply being on the different pages between the dreamer and the vendor, which was, may have been a female friend. Dreamer was happened to be looking around for a poster of the Mandalorian and Child, but this, it, in a sense, the dreamer was looking for more than just a poster of the Mandalorian and Child, and more than Star Wars. There's the image that came to me when I read about this was that a Madonna and Child, the Virgin Mary holding the infant Jesus. So, or you can extrapolate there a bit and extend that to mean family, or some kind of family unit. But on the one hand, that's what the dreamer was looking for. He was looking for a relationship, looking for a family oriented kind of poster. And what the female vendor slash friend was offering was apparently clandestine knowledge. She had all of these books hidden either in the lining of her coat or in a small tent. So it's something hidden, something clandestine, something undercover. So there's a juxtaposition there of the something being sacred, versus something being more profane, or something being open and honest, perhaps, as opposed to something being hidden, and perhaps not quite savory, to put it mildly. And my question here is the where in the life of the dreamer there may be this split, a split between being open, and being appearing, as one is naked in essence, as opposed to being covering up in something that no longer fits. Um, and I think that there's a splitting that's clearly, in both sections of this dream. There's a split that's going on, and I suspect that represents some kind of split, that's going on in the life of the dreamer, where in their waking life, and it would probably be a good idea to start to address those splits to kind of bring the inside world in line with the outside world, or vice versa. So there you have it. PVC trousers that no longer fit, Star Wars posters, and some more indecent proposals, or potential indecent proposals. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great evening and rest of the week, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.